Beyond the screen, there are moments in television history. There are no pre-recorded scenes or gags here. They are unfinished holes in the perfectly made pictures that we invite into our living rooms with our coffee every morning. Not long ago, we witnessed one of those turning points. There was no controversy. This was not a debate. Something much more reassuring was it. Kelly Ripa, queen of morning optimism, bears her soul in an unexpected and vulnerable way. For nearly 30 years, Mark Consuelos' steady, anchored presence has been complemented by Kelly's exuberant personality. The golden pair could not be more perfect than them. After 27 years in the bright light of Hollywood, they are still hopelessly committed, beautiful, successful, and parents to 3 children who seem to have adjusted well. They have seen us age, and we have seen them mature. They are like family to them. So it wasn't just news when Kelly Ripa broke down in front of an audience, revealing the hidden terrain of anguish beneath her husband's tough exterior. It resonated with a generation that understands the intricate web of a marriage and its challenges. So far, this marriage seems impregnable. What could possibly destabilize it? Mark Consuelos seems to be so capable and in charge all the time. What has he been quietly carrying? Kelly's tears were more than just a show of sadness. They served as an impetus, opening a dialogue about aging, men's expectations, and the unexpected truths that emerge when the nest is empty, all of which are topics that require immediate attention. Speculation about famous people isn't all we're covering today. As we delve deeper into a relationship, we find parallels to many of our own, delving into that horrific moment of public sorrow in search of the deep wisdom it held. Keep reading because Kelly just revealed something that completely transforms our perception of the ideal couple. Additionally, it has the potential to change your perspective on the unsung heroes in your own life. We need to knock down the pedestal we set them on almost 30 years ago before we can grasp the magnitude of this new disclosure. While working on All My Children in the middle of the 90s, Kelly and Mark crossed paths. For people who were around during that time, they were the embodiment of the real-life fairy tale that originated from soap opera fantasies. To Vegas, they eloped. In a celebrity culture characterized by short romances and ugly breakups, they built empires while constructing lives. Riapa Union, the Consuelos horse, came to represent tenacity. They proved to us that achieving success did not necessitate sacrificing our values or our marital union. Their public dynamic was consistent, which was soothing for decades. The showstopper and hilarious narrator, Kelly was never afraid to poke fun at herself for comic effect. No matter how much his wife's antics tried his patience, Mark was always there to steady the ship. He was attractive, slightly intense, and fiercely loyal. We felt secure enough to buy into this arrangement. It has an air of traditional modernism. But here is the ugly truth about committed marriages that people over the age of 60 know deep down. If a marriage relies solely on their compatibility and stability for 30 years, they will fail. The deep tectonic shifts that happen throughout time are hidden by the shiny photos. We expected them to live up to our ideal of a perfect marriage, choosing to overlook the reality that they are still human people going through the perilous midlife transition just like the rest of us. Kelly finally got us to look attentively because we were afraid we might see cracks in the porcelain. Mark Consuelos deserves our undivided attention right now. For many men of his and the previous generation, Mark has played a pivotal role in the narrative of their public lives. As a provider, defender, and rock, he is indispensable. His physical dominance, emotional control, and unflinching resolve make him the embodiment of a specific masculine ideal. His biggest asset, for a long time, was this reserve. Mark was the rock that brought Kelly crashing down to earth whenever she went off the rails due to stress or excessive energy. We gave him our full appreciation for it, but we can't help but wonder. What does it cost to be the rock for 27 years? Rocks are unyielding. Not even a rock can bleed. And when eventually put through enough stress, rocks don't rearrange themselves softly. Debris falls out. Here we reach the crux of the unseen conflict that Kelly hinted about. We tend to overlook the fact that the males in our lives, especially those who have been taught to prioritize strength over weakness, endure immense pain when they remain silent. Capability is the bedrock of Mark's brand. To acknowledge that there is struggle within, whether it's fear of becoming old in a field fixated on growing up, the need to maintain a specific way of life, or the existential fear that comes with the children leaving all run counter to the image he has worked so hard to create. On the other hand, you can see the holes in Mark's defenses if you examine that broadcast attentively. the one in which Kelly's composure ultimately shattered. The meat of the matter is at that point. In order to grasp the gravity of the situation, we must examine the particular event that caused the morning TV queen to fall to her knees. The news wasn't simply bad. Their beloved dog Chewy passed away in the beginning of 2025. A pet is frequently the final vestige of active parenting in the architecture of a family. So consider twice before clicking away because it's just a dog. Chewy wasn't content to simply reside in their abode. She was friends with Joaquin, Lola, and Michael as a child. As the students went from being toddlers to teenagers and finally college-bound, she remained the hallway's steady rhythm. There was more to Kelly's on-air sobs than the loss of a pet. She was mourning the final chapter of a long and eventful life. Every single infant had been taken. Was genuinely unnervingly silent in the house. "Watch Mark," Kelly said as she leaned into the camera lens, her heart broken and uncensored, and sobbed. "Always keep an eye on his little hands. He loves to touch her back." A nod comes from him. His distinctive steady baritone is being used to deliver the news. He has glassy eyes though. His jaw is clenched to the point where it appears uncomfortable. He believes that being the powerful spouse is exactly what she wants, so he is playing the part. But he's cutting himself off from the possibility of falling apart by doing this. Tragically, this is a typical scenario. It is referred to as alexithymia in men by psychologists. The incapacity to recognize and communicate their feelings as a result of evolutionary pressures to keep them bottled up. For the past 3 decades, Mark Consuelos has played the role of fixer. Mark thought it was a wake-up call when the studio relocated from its famous Lincoln Square site, which he said held the spirits of their children's childhoods. It was emotional, he said, but he immediately turned his focus to the details, the future, and the fresh beginning. The story was corrected by him. However, time itself is unchangeable. Now we reach the unspoken truth of empty nesting that you won't see discussed on any magazine covers. The Ripa Consuelos family is shown enjoying a vacation, appearing fit and radiant. However, earlier this year there were hints of friction, which appeared fun on the outside but revealed something serious on the inside. Never forget the argument about the airport divorce. Their argumentative travel ways made news in this comedic episode. Kelly would like to unwind. To Mark, time, organization, and command are of the utmost importance. We chortled, but take a closer look. The elimination of children as a buffer forces spouses to face the unfiltered conflict of their personalities. A typical coping technique for men experiencing the loss of their main purpose is the need for control, which Mark demonstrates by arriving at the airport hours before his departure and meticulously planning every detail. He fulfilled the roles of parent, provider, and protector for 20 years. These days, the kids can get by on their own. Independently, Kelly is a wealthy tycoon. Who or what else does the protector still need to safeguard? Unintentionally shedding light on Kelly's frailty, this existential dilemma represents her latent suffering. We can't help but wonder how many men we know are yelling under their breath as they lock the doors, wash the car, or worry about the airport's arrival time. They don't mean to be bothersome. Their efforts to make a difference seem futile in a world that doesn't appear to be getting any less important. It wasn't merely a loss that marked the tipping point we saw on television. It dealt with the weariness of keeping up appearances. During her time of mourning, Kelly let Mark a little respite from his role as Rock. And it is the important thing to remember. We have created a culture that applauds the golden marriage for being so dramatic-free. Since Mark and Kelly appear to have everything under control, we look up to them as role models. However, the most exquisite moment of their 27-year union wasn't staged or meant to be dramatic. The illusion crumbled on this untidy, unattractive, tear-streaked morning. It proved that not even the wealthiest, healthiest, most beloved individuals can escape the overwhelming sadness of time passing. For one spouse in an ideal marriage, the constant need to be the strong one can lead to crippling feelings of isolation. Watch this as a sign if you identify with Mark, someone who is frightened to break because they fear their family will fall apart, since you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Laying down the responsibilities is acceptable. And if you're the emotional, expressive center of your relationship, the Kelly, then stop what you're doing and look at your Rock. Find the cracks that go along the hairline. Inquire about his well-being, not in the role of parent or provider, but as a guy whose life is undergoing rapid transformation alongside yours. Ripa Consuelos' reign will continue indefinitely. This new period of weakness may actually fortify them more than before. Their story teaches us that being married for the long haul isn't about escaping hardship. Being able to look away from each other's suffering is the key. We should expect to see a new Mark and Kelly as they move through this next stage of their lives. The one after dogs, kids, and Lincoln Square. One that is less polished, a bit more worn, but ultimately more authentic. Moreover, isn't that our ultimate goal? No more fairy tales, please. We must see evidence that love can endure truth. Stop what you're doing and think again before you click through headlines about celebrities having breakdowns or having embarrassing moments on live. Find the people behind the curtain of the show. For in Kelly's sobs and Mark's stillness, we perceive the mirror image of every marriage that has ventured to age. Much obliged for your time. Leave a comment telling me whether you related to the video or if you've had similar silent battles in your personal relationships. Like and subscribe for more in-depth looks at the lives of your favorite celebs. Be careful with one another and with yourself. Until next time.